Hello all. Today our topic of discussion is about the poem Where the Mind is Without Fear. Was written by a Nobel laureate Rabindranath Tagore. Where the Mind is Without Fear is a thought-provoking poem. Tagore is a poet, dramatist and often referred to as the Bard of Bengal. So Where the Mind is Without Fear poem is considered to be the best poems in the anthology called Gitanjali. It has also won the prestigious Nobel Prize for Literature in the year 1913. So, when Tagore composed this poem, in his mind, he was confined by the chains of slavery like any other common citizens of India because India was under the clutch of British rule, where freedom was like daydreaming. The poet Tagore is clearly explaining that he wants India to be a freedom country as well as he wants Indians to be people who deserve freedom. This poem is written in the form of prayer. It's a true bearer for the relief of freedom. Actually, in the poem, Tagore urges God throughout the poem that he is placing a mysterious concept of freedom, of struggle that could awake the people of his country. If we move into the poem, here he wants his countrymen who could trust people directly but not through superstitious belief, and the people who have blind faith. And if we go into deeper conversation about the topic, there we have a particular phrase called arms towards perfection, which means the Indians, the countrymen, should always work hard and move towards success. This ideology is what applied throughout the poem. He wants his countrymen to be truthful, faithful and loyal. He wants his countrymen to believe in God but not in blind faith. He considers slavery, corruption, superstitious belief, manipulation, all these are the demons of the society. The poem actually invokes the deep patriotic feelings. Our country is subjugated by caste, creed, superstitious belief and biased ideas. If you see into the poem, he has referred to invisible walls. So domestic invisible walls are nothing but the walls that we have built for ourselves in front of us, which could be broken by us, but it takes a lot of effort from a particular person. And it takes a lot of effort from individual. So, he wants his countrymen to hold their heads high. Their aim, their goal should always be in higher range. And he wants his countrymen to have ample amount of knowledge where all the ideologies can be invented or discovered by themselves. So he has given a statement or a word called fragmented into pieces, which means his country is divided into different pieces like caste, racism, all these stuff. But the understanding of the countrymen is they should know the truth, what the truth is, and they should act according to their heart. So, if you move into the next few lines of the poem, the ideas of liberation, oppression, repression and subjugation were mostly dominated by the British men. So, here Tagore wants Indian men to avoid all those things and be free among the societal people. He wants his men to be confident and not confined. There should not be any injustice among the men or women where they are divided into caste, creed and gender. All the men in the country or all the women in the country should be treated equally. They should not be prejudiced and they should have open mind to accept new challenges and changes in the society. Basically, Tagore is telling that his countrymen should always have a decent and dignified life in the society. So, when we move into the summary of the poem, Where the Mind is Without Fear, it is a pre-independent poem in which the poet sincerely urges God to give the awareness or to give the energy for the Indians to be in the independent society or to use their freedom in the society. He wants his Indian people to realize that the essential need is to live freely in their own country. He wants his countrymen to awake and enjoy the life full of dignity and honor. So, the conclusion of the poem, Where the Mind is Without Fear. Here, if you see into the poem, Tagore's personal quest, personal ideologies, personal ideas is placed in the poem. He wants his ideas to be divine, so he is placing into God's hands where God, He Himself can help the men and women to be equal and united in the society. This poem is a great and a remarkable extent which expresses about the intensity of the feeling of the author, where it tells the depth and the quest and the thirst for freedom and to have a free, happier future for mankind. So, if we move into the poem, we have different subjugations, like we have author introduction. As we saw, the author Rabindranath Tagore is a Nobel laureate. He also has received Nobel Prize. And Tagore expression towards his country is all over the poem, and we could find that in every note and every line of the poem. And if you go into the explanation, as I said, there was a brief summary about the poem. So finally, he is giving a very short summary and very short explanation that the poet prays to God that Indians should be logical, progressive in their thoughts and action, which means they should follow their heart and they should follow their mind together instead of believing in people words. Thank you.